What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the Ziff coaching channel. Now today's video is going to be one that I think will help a lot of people out, because obviously the meta has now switched towards the 5-3-2 formation, and obviously a lot of people are struggling very much to break it down and even defend against it, because as much as it is a defensive formation, it is very strong going forwards, because obviously you've got the wing backs which are obviously gonna hurt you if you don't defend it properly. So what this video is going to be, and I don't want to drag this intro out too much, I'm basically going to be explaining exactly how to beat the 5-3-2. Now, a lot of emphasis is going to be put on the mechanical ways of actually in-game trying to, break people down who are using the 5-3-2 and defend them properly. I'm not going to delve too much into tactics, but if you do enjoy this video and you do want to see the tactics that I was using in this video, please do drop a like, please do subscribe, and that video, will probably be coming soon. But I think the most important thing to note is that the only real important tactic I would say is press after possession loss. Press after possession loss is basically vital to the way that I'm going to be explaining to you how you're supposed to beat this formation, how you're supposed to break it down. So yeah, 5-3-2. Sorry, the formation I'm in is actually 4-3-1-2, playing against the 5-3-2, obviously trying to break it down. So 4-3-1-2, press after possession loss. And as I say, I won't delve into the tactics too much, because as I said in my last video, I don't think that tactics are going to win you games. Obviously they're going to change certain things, but directly it's not alone. That they're not going to do everything on their own. You have to be the one actually playing right, doing everything right, and making sure that you're doing the right things in game. So as I say, without further ado, let's get into the gameplay analysis and explain exactly how to beat the 5-3-2 formation. Okay, so one of the most important things I think when trying to beat the 5-3-2 is making sure that you're always focusing on their wing backs. Because obviously they're the positions that are going to hurt you the most. They're the positions that are going to be the most weird to play against, because you're not necessarily used to playing against wing backs, and obviously they're going to be high up the pitch all the time, so you have to be on them as soon as they get the ball. You have to focus on them a lot, and make sure that you make sure you defend their wing backs properly. If you just look here, when the ball comes out here, look how narrow my team is. So my team is obviously very narrow, but what you want to make sure that you do is you want to get out to the wing backs as quick as physically possible, to make sure they can't obviously get in the box. Now I get stupidly unlucky here with that tackle. I should have tackled him, and obviously I've done the right thing by getting him nice and close to him. But then, yeah, unbelievable finish by Kulusevski. There's not a lot I can do about that. But you want to make sure you're out on those fullbacks as soon as possible, because if you look, my team, as I say, is very narrow. You want to make sure you get straight onto the wing backs as soon as possible, to make sure they can't play anything in. But obviously you don't want to miss the tackle. You don't want to miss the tackle, because obviously what happens when Rooney does miss a tackle is he's in on goal. But you want to make sure that with that defensive player, with that midfielder, you're making sure that you're trying to cover these passes inside into the box, but also make sure that you're pressing the man on the ball. And that's going to put you in good stead to stop them from scoring. Okay, so one of the keys of beating the 5-3-2 is, as I said, in this formation that I'm playing, the 4-3-1-2, you want to have press after possession loss. Now, the reason you want to do that is so that you can pen your opponent in. If you look where we are right now, okay, he's got his 3 centre-backs here, he's got his right wing-back here, and his midfield are all in a line. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to lose the ball. Now, when I lose the ball, and, you sort of got them penned in like this, so all of his players are pretty much in position. You want to be pressing as much as physically possible right now. You want to be getting up on their players, making sure that you're not leaving any gaps, you're not leaving any easy passes or anything, but you're pressing him, pinning him in, and making sure he's got absolutely nowhere to go, no outlets at all. And if you see now, I've switched to my right back, who again is high up, because obviously I've got my fullbacks on balance. So my fullbacks are going to be high up. They're going to give me the width. But then he plays a ball straight into my player's feet, and obviously now, if you look at how his team's set up, you've got his left wing back here. You've got his defense split in like a his midfield split in like a diamond shape almost. In fact, one of his midfielders is all the way up here. He's got one hit. Basically, what you've done by pressing him in this much and winning the ball back high up the pitch is his midfield is out of position now. They're not ready for it. They're absolutely not ready to try and contain an attack. So now this is where you attack. This is where you do lots of clever skill moves in order to try and attack your opponent. And as you can see here, I do a couple of skill cancels, a couple of turns, straight into Ronaldo's feet, because as I say, his midfield is completely out of position. Now, if his midfield three is in a line, and what a lot of people struggle with against the 5-3-2, because it's so, because it's so defensive and so compact, they've got, three in the middle, then three centre backs to get through. Where you want to attack them is when their defence is out of position. Now, obviously, defence and midfield are out of position even. So if you look right now, there's a lot of space in here where, his midfielders are here and here. We've beaten two of his midfielders already. So he's got his right wing back, his left wing back's getting back as well. He's got three centre backs and Vieira, of course. Now, a couple of skill moves and a couple of turns is all it takes to break this down, because he's pulled one of his centre backs out of position. This should have been one of his midfielders pressing here, but he's had to, because his midfielder's out of position, he's had to pull one of his centre backs out, and suddenly it creates a load of space, and obviously one ball into Ronaldo, turn, bang, and we've scored a goal. So yeah, the way to sort of break your opponent down is to do it very quickly after losing the ball. You want to win it back as soon as possible. You want to use that press as good as you possibly can. Pin your opponent in, make sure they can't get out, and catch them out of position, catch him when he's not ready, and then boom, couple of turns, couple of good skill moves, and you're in on goal. So here we've got a very similar situation where I'm on the attack and I'm going to lose the ball. Now, when I lose the ball, my team's going to press. I switch to Neymar because I know that Ronaldo's going to go out there. I switch to Neymar to block this pass, so he can't make this pass. He tries to play it out there. Obviously, then I then win the ball back. His team is out of position. And then suddenly what's going to happen is he's going to move Reece James completely out of position. And then all of a sudden, his right wing back's having to come in. My left back is up here, and one thing you want to do is you want to use your own fullbacks, obviously, to combat theirs, because their wing backs are going to be high up the pitch. They're going to be nice and attacking. So you need to make sure that you're using your fullbacks to the best of your ability as well. And often you want to keep them wide to keep the width. But also, when they come in like this and they're nice and narrow, it's sometimes good, because if you've got his team out of position, narrow is where you want to attack, and all of a sudden, as I say, Reece James out of position, his right wing backs had to come in, and I don't score from this, but if I played it a little bit better, I could have. And it's all about dragging their players out of position, creating that little bit of space, making sure that they're pinned in, they can't do anything, because obviously now, I'm going to lose the ball, and suddenly I've got another sort of press coming in. I have to press again. And make sure that there's no easy outlet, and all of a sudden he's got to go backwards so my team can press up again. And it's all about keeping them nice and penned in. Don't make it easy for them to pass it into the striker's feet, because the danger really comes when it does go into the striker's feet, and they can turn and give it to one of their wing backs. That's what's really going to hurt you. And obviously now, if we look, his wing backs are already pushed up nice and high. His right wing back up here, his left wing back up here. So yeah, you just need to make sure you're always trying to pin them in. Make sure there's no easy options, but at the same time, when you press a lot, when you press a high amount, you want to make sure that you don't sort of become entrapped in that, and entrapped in the feeling of, okay, I have to press, because really you don't. Like now, for example, he's escaped the press. Okay, now I don't press. Now I defend nice and conservatively. I watch the passing lanes. I don't need to press at all here. And this is after, a certain period of time, having lost the ball, he's kept it for a while. Now I need to defend conservatively. I need to get out to his full wing backs as quick as possible. I need to make sure that I'm not giving him any easy options in the middle. And if I do give him an easy option, I need to make sure I recover it nicely. So nice and conservative defending here, making sure that you're not diving in. And as I say, you got to get out to those wing backs as quick as physically possible. And obviously, try and block those passing lanes into the box. And, I blocked the cross. And yeah, he's got a corner, but I haven't conceded, and that's how you're gradually going to defend. It's not going to be as simple as just do this, just do that. You have to sort of change it up. Sometimes you press, sometimes you don't, and you defend nice and conservatively. You wait for him to make the mistake, you wait for him to make the move, and that's how you defend, like, after a long period of not having the ball. And as well, another thing, you don't want to get impatient. So like here with Bruno Fernandes, I'm running around, I'm not diving in anywhere, and to be honest, I kind of make a little bit of a mistake here actually, with moving Cancelo up, because I allowed this ball to come in. So that's my bad, and I don't know whether that was me miss-switching or me getting impatient, but one thing you definitely don't want to do is you definitely don't want to get impatient while defending. You don't want to rush out any of your players. You don't want to make any of those mistakes, because against a good player using the 5-3-2, they will definitely be punished. And, I got punished here by allowing this ball to come through, but thankfully, I managed to defend it again, pretty well, and I didn't get properly punished for it. But you have to be very careful when defending, that you make sure you do everything right. Okay, so here we've got another absolutely excellent situation where I've lost the ball in a high up area, high up the pitch, and he's suddenly, I'm trapping him in with this press, with the press after possession loss. I'm trapping him in. He's forced to try and play a crossfield ball because look, there's absolutely no options anywhere here really. If he tries to dink it over there, I'm going to be on him with 2 players, if you can see there. So he has to try and play this crossfield ball over to his left wing back. Obviously, the ball hasn't gone there. I don't know whether that's his mistake, or it just didn't go where he was meant to go. But we win the ball back in a high area, and if you look at his defense right now, his defense is an absolute mess. It's absolutely disgraceful. How like his defense is so out of position. So you need to punish him. Now this is where you need to punish him. You need to do a lot of tricks. I would say against good players. In fact against anyone, you have to use some skill moves, because just by passing it around, you're never ever going to be able to break somebody down using a 5 back with 3 in midfield. It's just not going to happen. You have to start using skill moves. If you haven't already, go learn some skill moves. I've got some skill move videos on my channel. That you could use, but definitely learn some skill moves. Now, what I actually do here is I do a skill move, and then what I do, I stretch the pitch. And when I say that, you have to stretch the pitch. You have to use the size of the boxes. You have to try and use these sort of areas down the wing, to then go back into the middle and then look for the spaces. Because if you look now, there's he's trying to crowd my players over here, but I managed to get it back to R9. I managed to get it outside the box, and all of a sudden a big space opens up over here, and Vieira is taken out of the game temporarily. And obviously then you do a couple more skill moves, and bang, you've scored a goal. It's all about almost like striking while the iron's hot, if that makes sense. So when you're trapping him in, when you win that ball back high up, when his defense is out of position, that's when you want to attack, because attacking a well set up 5-3-2 that's ready to defend is going to be extremely difficult. So what you need to do is you need to catch them while you win the ball back high up, while everyone's out of position. You need to catch them, do some skill moves, play it around the box, make sure you keep your own width, because that's going to be very important. You don't want to be going completely narrow. But then obviously, then you can score goals, and it's made much easier. Okay, so I think the last thing that I really want to mention is the fact that obviously playing this way, playing with this high press, if they manage to beat your press, obviously you're going to be susceptible to a counter-attack and a through ball. Now, what happens here is obviously I lose the ball high up. I try and press to my absolute, the best of my ability. He escapes my press, and then I'm sort of backtracking now, and what they're going to try and do to you in the 5-3-2. Obviously, if we look here, I don't know where his other centre-back is, but he's got 2 centre-backs back. And obviously, he's got his left wing-back up here. And if you can see on the mini-map just down there, just behind the 30, he's got his right wing-back. And obviously, what that's going to try and do is it's going to try and stretch you. Now, what you don't want to do is, although you want to, focus on his wing-backs, you want to focus on those wing-backs, and you want to press them as soon as you possibly can. You don't want to throw too many players over there, because otherwise, it gives him a great opportunity to stretch the pitch. You dragging your players over there, it's gonna leave gaps over here. So for example, right now I've pressed with Kulusevski. I've looked at his fullback, his wingback. I've seen it. I've pressed, and then all of a sudden I know that he's gonna pass it over here because that's the obvious one. So with Adama Traore, I move to sort of make sure that this pass can't be made. And obviously he runs offside anyway. But yeah, I just I hold my ground, I stand my ground, make sure that I don't make anything easy for him, and try and stop those counter attacks the best I possibly can. And obviously eventually you're going to win the ball back, so don't be susceptible to them playing really wide, because if you drag too many players over, if you pull your own team out of position, that's exactly what they're going to do to you when how they punish you. So you need to make sure that you're not bringing those players out of position at all, as much as you possibly can anyway. But yeah, I think that's the final thing that I wanted to mention on that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I think this is probably going to be my most important video for people in terms of trying to beat this 5-3-2 meta that obviously people are put into the game. I personally don't like it, although I have used it. I personally don't like this meta, and I hope that this video can help people beat it, and then hopefully it won't be quite as effective. But obviously the tactics that I used in this video, they were 4-3-1-2. I had my fullbacks on balanced. I was using press on heavy touch. Sorry, not press on heavy touch. Press after possession loss. But if you want to see the full tactics and all the player instructions, I will be bringing that soon. So like this video and subscribe. And no, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I appreciate all the support, but for now, I'll catch you in the next one.